Hi guys, welcome to a Rating Your Wildcard stream. I hope you're all good. Today I'm joined by David Monday. How are you doing, David?
It's really nice because there's no deadline for ages. Isn't
yes, I know.
No
Imagine.
decisions. Well,
what?
No impending decisions anyway. Well, we're going to look at some wildcards, of course. So there's lots of minute decisions to make. Low risk because you wake up tomorrow, you can make them all again. The next day, make them all again. Ages till the next deadline, which is always nice. Gives us time to get a bit of perspective on some of the things that went wrong or things that went right, while we just endlessly wait for Burnley v Watford, which I'm sure we're all waiting for with bated breath. So,
I have to keep reminding myself there's still a match left in game week, like 23. I'm like, really? There's still a match? What? When's that? I think it was just Salah watch last night, wasn't it? Everyone was just like, is Salah getting through? Isn't he getting through? He gets through, and now everyone's like, what's that mean? Well,
he scored the winning penalty as well. It's like, as if, come on, like, we needed you.
I know.
To miss that, man.
I know.
Bailly clearly, honestly, has no clue about fantasy managers, because if he did, he'd have put that penalty in. Oh, it's so frustrating.
And I was like, come home, Salah. Come home, Salah. Come home, Salah. But I think need not to worry yet, because the next fixture for them is just a couple of days' time, and Liverpool don't play until like the Thursday after next. So there's plenty of time for him still. If he gets through that, goes to the final, then I think 24 might be sketchy, especially if they win it, because then he's got to get back, might have press releases, he'll want to celebrate with his teammates, all of that jazz. So yeah.
They've got a good chance of winning it as well. And we could even, just looking at the bracket now, I want to double check and get this right about who they could play on the way 12, because it's Morocco next.
Yes.
Senegal are still in the competition, but Ivory Coast, obviously, they put them out. Ghana didn't make it through the group stages. So it's Gambia, Cameroon, Burkina Faso against Tunisia, Senegal against Equatorial Guinea, and Egypt against Morocco. I just want to double check whether or not there's a chance of Salah versus Mane in the final. Because that would be tasty.
That would be tasty.
I'm just checking it now. Sorry, I should have looked this up. Yeah, it could happen. So they're on the other side of the draw. So if Senegal beat Equatorial Guinea,
wow.
And then if they win that, and if they were to then face, they would then face Burkina Faso or Tunisia in the semis. With Egypt, they've got to beat Morocco to then face Cameroon or Gambia in the semi-final. So if Salah and Mane win all their subsequent games between now and the final, then they are going to face each other in the final.
Wow.
Alternatively, if Senegal get put out in the quarterfinals and Egypt make their way all the way to the final, maybe Mane should be signed for Gameweek 24. All sorts of exciting things that could happen.
Maybe. I actually considered maybe going, because I don't have him at the moment, I have Bruno, and now that we've had the announcement that United and Brighton are getting a double game week in Game Week 25, actually considered going Gray. This is how much money I have in my bank.
Gray. Or Damari Gray. Okay.
Damari Gray. To KDB, and him sitting there for a week and then transferring him on to Salah if Salah doesn't come back. But I think, I mean, as much as I'd really like Egypt to do well, I do miss Salah. Not going to lie.
Yeah, my fantasy team is way more important than Egypt. No offense.
Okay, then let's get on with these Rating the Wildcards. And I put out a tweet yesterday, so if you guys want to add any teams to it, you can do. It's at FPL capitals, capital letter NYM. And you guys can pop them below. Portugal says, already played my wildcard in 22 and it was successful, but if I was playing it in Gameweek 24, this would be my team. We'll move Bruno in Gameweek 25 as KDB will likely be rested for Norwich game ahead of UCL, and then Spurs in Gameweek 26. Salah will come in at Gameweek 26, 1 million in the bank. So I guess he hasn't used it, but he's putting it out there for people. Rate this team then. So can you got it on screen there, David? He's got De Gea, Foster, Cucurella, Digne, Trent, Cancelo, Aït-Nouri, Jota, De Bruyne, Bowen, Gallagher, Moder, Watkins, Edouard, and Ronaldo. What do we think?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a good squad. I think with Man United double, it's not particularly exciting, but I think we would be remiss not to be invested somehow. I think the decision that this, I mean, obviously this is all hypothetical because this guy hasn't actually wildcarded, but people will probably be looking at something similar. Have to make. I think they are going to have to make it a premium midfielder decision probably, because Salah will come back one day. That will happen. He might even come back in the double game week for Man United, which actually is not too bad because it's Burnley away for them, so you could probably get away with not having him for that one. But then it's Norwich at home the week after. Then United also have Leeds away. Then they play Watford at home, and so I just feel like squad structure right now it's kind of difficult to have more than one premium midfielder. I mean, mainly because you kind of need some mid-price forwards. You obviously need to spend at least 8 million and 7 million on Alexander-Arnold and Cancelo, who are both must-haves.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose with this squad, he probably could sell Ronaldo.
That's the big question, isn't it? It's kind of, for me, I downgraded, Ronaldo for Bruno last week. So I think that's kind of where people's kind of heads are going to lie. Do they go Ronaldo or do they go Bruno? And that's going to be tough because why do I have this terrible feeling that I went Ronaldo last time for the double game week and this time I have Bruno and I'm going to be on the opposite side of the coin both times.
50-50s in FPL are like a nightmare. I hate 50-50s.
They are.
I think, so sorry, I wasn't really making my point as clear as I should have done. I was sort of, I think what I'm saying is I think Bruno is a better bet, basically, than Ronaldo. And so then that's why it's tricky because we've even got people in the comments saying, who was it? FPL Focus saying that KDB can't be ignored. Like, I agree. You know, deciding between KDB, Bruno and Salah right now, maximum you can probably have is 2 of those. I'm just going to go through some numbers for United over the last 4. And obviously you have to take some of this with a pinch of salt because I think some of the games where Bruno's done better have been when Ronaldo hasn't played. But I don't want to say this and people react like I'm saying something that's like sacrilegious, but I think Bruno is slightly less prone to rotation right now than Ronaldo, just based purely on the fact that he's not 36, and also Bruno isn't as much of a drain on the team. The manager's never going to admit. You could probably turn around and be like, "Nah, you're too old. Go on the bench." When actually, what he means is you're too selfish, or you don't cover back, or whatever. But in terms of some of the stats, basically, total expected goal involvement for the last 4 matches, Bruno just edges Ronaldo, 1.82 to 1.69. Bruno has overperformed by plus 218, considerably a lot more than Ronaldo on plus 0.31. But then again, that doesn't necessarily have to be a problem if Bruno's expected goal involvement is higher anyway, because then if he's going to be in line with that, then he's still going to match or probably outscore Ronaldo just based purely on the fact that he's a midfielder. And I mean, obviously, if Ronaldo's in the team, then it's going to be harder for Fernandes to be near the free kicks and the penalties, which does form a part of this. But I don't know. Right now, I would just feel a lot more comfortable. Sometimes it's just a gut thing. I would feel a lot more comfortable with Bruno than I would Ronaldo. But especially because you're going to want to captain a United player for that double game week, who's going to definitely play both games. Well, we've already had. I feel like a lot of people have been once burned. It's twice shy kind of thing with Ronaldo because we had the double game week with them, and he didn't start the first one. So
I know.
Sorry.
That person is literally me. But I'm with you there. I think Ronaldo has gone off somewhere again. I think he's somewhere in sunnier climes yet again, whereas I think Bruno is still here in training. So yeah, I think just it doesn't mean anything necessarily, but just out of the two, I feel a bit more secure. Not only that, I feel like it gives you the flexibility to move to like Salah or KDB. If you've got like two of them, you can switch back and forth depending on like doubles that come up and all of those sorts of things. So yeah, that's kind of my thought process on that.
Plus, if your premium guy is a no-show or whatever, or he doesn't do very well, it's really annoying him taking a selfie of him being in a swimming pool in his pants. Yeah, it doesn't sit right with you. It's a bit like, do you know what you've done to my fantasy team this week? No, you got no clue.
I know.
You're not playing, fine, whatever. It means a holiday for you. It means a couple of days of grief for me. You just don't want that. You're not going to get that with Bruno because he's not the kind of guy to do that. So, just an additional.
Hoping not. Could just like come in here out of nowhere now and surprise us all. Okay, right. We have FPL GW24, and he has 1 Man United and 1 Brighton in his wild card. And it is De Gea, Heaton, Laporte, Cancelo, Robson, Trent, Digne, De Bruyne, Gallagher, Salah, Bowen, Ramsey, Edouard, Brozier, Mopé. So he has gone for the 2 premium midfielders.
Yeah, no, I mean, that looks nice. And it does give him the flexibility, obviously, for Fernandes. But I mean, it's still a tricky decision because, like I said, when you look at those fixtures, let's say Salah does come back for 24, home against Leicester. I mean, that's quite nice. United away at Burnley. It's always kind of hard to tell what's going to happen there. But then you would want Bruno for the double, and then you're going to want Salah for the 26th because that's when they play Norwich. But then you'd want to get rid of him again when Liverpool don't have a game and Man United play Watford at home. So it's a bit hokey-cokey. I mean, I suppose you could do it with De Bruyne as well. Mm-hmm. Brentford, Norwich away, and then Spurs and Everton. Maybe that's the way to go, but I don't know. He's done the absolutely right thing by getting those 2 people there so that he's got the option to make those switches, and that's good. But yeah, between now and 27, I couldn't tell you exactly which of the 2 of the 3 is going to perform best. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely one to keep an eye on. Mopé, I like the look of. Obviously, the double game week is a big pull, but obviously they don't play in 24. They have nice fixtures afterwards, so I guess it just depends on, can you cover Mopé in 24? Depends who else you've got, really. Crystal Palace playing Norwich. Could you go Edouard for 1 week, for example, and then go Mopé?
Yeah, he's got Edouard in already.
He's got Edouard in already. Oh, sorry, my mistake. Well, in actual fact, then he's
maybe just bench him.
Well, he's in a decent position. Yeah, you can just bench Mopé and start Edouard and then move things around a little bit. I mean, that is a really nice squad. I mean, Laporte as well. I mean, he's someone we've not really talked about. He's been playing quite a lot and quite well. Yeah. And Man City never really need like amazing fixtures for players to deliver. Like Cancelo's obviously proved that. And I guess it just depends whether or not we think that they're going to keep as many clean sheets in terms of talking about the double up. Yeah. I don't think Laporte is going to be as good as Cancelo. I don't think that's possible. But I mean, having him on the radar is a good shout, Laporte. Yeah. So
agreed. Although benching one of those back 5 every week, or 2 of those back 5 every week, just feels like a headache.
And gone, actually, do you know what? Maybe not. Sorry, I just retracted everything I said.
No. Everything you said is great. It's just that I think really you need to kind of choose like one of Laporte or Robertson and make the other spot a much cheaper spot, because I just think you're going to find later on when you want some cash that, you don't have it. You might want, I don't know. Oh God, like there's just so many people that you might want to consider for that Ramsey spot or that Gallagher spot, that having that extra cash. So if we were going to rate this out of 10, because we've got to do that Prod Wells, what would we give
the other one a 7.5.
Okay. I'll give it, I'll probably give it a 7, because I'm preferring the mighty midfield double up, I think, than Ronaldo, but that's personally because I've been so hurt by Ronaldo. So what are we giving this one?
I'll give it a 7.2. I'll be very specific. Just,
very specific.
Have to be. I think it's close to being a nice squad, but you did make a good point actually that long term he's going to be looking at his bench every week and being like, I mean, what do I do?
Yeah,
he's going to want to play his bench boost every week, and that will cause some problems. So good players chosen, but needs a little bit more thought in terms of like longevity. So it's a 7.2 from me.
Oh, we've got a new subscriber, I think. Hang on, let me just check. Greg Ward, welcome to the Nymfam. Thank you very much for subbing. Yeah, I agree. I'll probably go. I prefer the structure better of this one, but yeah, I would definitely downgrade one of those premium defenders because you're really going to struggle on who to play every week. So, and I also feel like Jota's kind of fallen off the radar because he hasn't had Salah and Mane. And I feel like once they're back, Jota will become an option again. So whilst this whole focus with Robson and Trent at the moment is like, go Robson and Trent, I just kind of feel like Jota may just come back into this again. And with Salah and Mane back and Jota, he may get a rest initially because he's been very busy recently. But once that rest is over, I kind of feel like, it might be more difficult for Robertson to get those points because, there'll be Salah and Mane and Jota and all of that all fighting for the same points pretty much. So, okay. FPL Commander says, thinking of getting Digne or not now instead of money in, but cash in, sorry. But who did that last time? He's caught me out again. Again. But I remembered this time. But who should I replace for him? Teeny and want to hold, but blank game weeks coming. Dallet and good fixtures to come. Or Dawson, but have this easy fixture to plant in bullet headers of yesteryears. It's very similar to the last time, I believe.
Yeah, I think I remember the same question. Tricky one. I would still hold Tierney for now. I just don't really know if I really like West Ham for defence. Have a look where they rank in terms of their fixture compared to everyone else. Like when you look at the fixtures, you're going to see a lot of green or blue, depending on whether or not you use the main site or Scout, for example. But I still think that Watford, Leicester, and Newcastle can score against them. To be honest. So and the thing is, let's have a look. Dawson, what's he done recently? I tend to only go
not very much because I've got Dawson, and I can tell you now on screen that he hasn't done very, very much at all. I think he almost came close to a clean sheet last week, and I was like, "You dare? You're on my bench. You dare? Would not be happy at all."
You basically never get what you want. I think when it comes to these kind of defenders, I think that there's a bit of a misconception in the way that fantasy managers, especially on Twitter, think about the way that they can operate in your team. Mm-hmm. So yes, fine, maybe he scored some bullet headers back in the day, but that was like a different team. And so but the thing is that level of nuance sometimes doesn't really creep into the bandwagon before it starts. But then you just start seeing everyone on Twitter. And I'm not saying necessarily, by the way, I'm not trying to say that the person who sent this question has full foul of this, but I just saw a lot of this around their double in was it 21? Just see bullet header, and it's just like everywhere. And I just looked at his stats, and it's like, yeah, but he isn't really in the kind of form that suggests that's likely. When he was at West Brom, he was like peppering the goal with shots left, right, and centre because he just played in a team that made that happen because they were West Brom. The only way he could score goals was from set pieces, to be honest. He had a lot of shots when he was at Watford as well. And there has been spells when he's been at West Ham where that's been the case, but not loads. And in the last 4 matches, he's had 3 shots in the box, which is that's less than 1 a game. And then one of those has been a big chance.
Why do I have him in my team?
And then he's had no shots on target. So he's just the thing is he'll probably go and score now. But the thing is
I hope not. He'll be on my bench.
If this is a wildcard discussion, I wouldn't have anywhere near my team. Mm-hmm. If I had someone I could get rid of to get Digne or Cash, I would definitely pick him because.
Yeah.
And then just to look at West Ham defensively as well, 8 big chances conceded in their last 4. It's kind of like mid-table. So they're not a team that you can rely on for clean sheets. You know, if they're in the top half of that table or near the top end for fewest big chances conceded, you'd be like, okay, they're looking like they could clean sheets, but that isn't the case. And a guy who's shooting less than once per match in the box, that isn't someone that you can turn around and be like, oh, he always scores bullet headers, because clearly he doesn't. So sorry to spam him. I actually really like him. I've owned him a number of times down through the years. I've owned him on Football Manager, and he's done very well for me. I'm sure he's a nice guy. My dad happens to be a West Ham fan, so I have a soft spot for them. But all of that sentimentality, where's my window? Out that window when it comes to FPL. Sorry, man. So Dawson out, Dino cash in. That's my answer.
Okay, just before we do move on, what is your thought on Dalot? Because he has come into my thinking now with Man United having the double game week.
Yeah, I mean, people will definitely be thinking about him, won't they? Because those, I mean, we don't. The thing is, I hate double game weeks because they just suck you in, don't they? And then you just go, "Oh, I'm going to get this guy."
I am moth to the flame when it comes to double game weeks. I'm like, and then it's shiny.
It's kind of hard not to think of reasons for it. It's a bit like stacking the chips in your favour. So I think if I was wildcarding now with a view for the long term, then I'd definitely go Dalot, because he's only 4.5, and then it's low risk, isn't it? You know, you aren't committing a transfer to do it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wildcard specifically just to get Dalot. I mean, that would be crazy. But if you're wildcarding anyway, you might as well, because there aren't going to be many times to be. I mean, the thing is, I look at the defenders in FPL now, and it's like you only really have room for one additional defender who you're going to start with, because you do just need to have Cancelo and Alexander-Arnold. And your third defender is probably going to be what, Cash or Digne? I mean, I've still got Reguilon.
His minutes, though, Dalot's minutes, he missed a couple, right?
Yeah,
that's what's kind of panicked me. Did he miss out for? Do we know if he missed out for any particular reason?
He missed out on Gameweek 21. Didn't play at all against Wolves. He only played 9 minutes against Burnley, but he has started. I think that's 7 of the last 9. And so the thing is, for a 4.5 million defender, and in a double game week, who long term you're probably not going to be using all that often, I think there's much lower, like it's a pretty low risk thing to give it a go.
Yeah.
And not loads of bonus points, but he's got 5 bonus points from those 7 starts. And he's 4-5. Like, I'd give it a go. Like, why not?
Yeah, I think in my case, it's going to allow me to get in Salah. So by moving Rudiger down to 4.5, it will allow me to upgrade Gray with the extra little bit of cash that I need up to Salah. And I think in that respect, I'm considering, a couple of 4.5s, but Dalot is, is up there. So, okay, I hope that helped, Commander, for you. I'm also looking at Wolves, by the way, if that helps any, because I noticed that you haven't put any Wolves defence there in a suggestion, and I keep banging on about them, so at some point I have to put my money where my mouth is. Okay, Marcus Cheer, please suggest ways on how to get back to Salah. Don't want to sell Fernandez as he has double game week in 25, 2 million in the bank and 2 free transfers.
Have we got the rest of his team? Or?
De Gea, Soufal, Trent, Cancelo, Rudiger, Cucurella, Gray, Fernandez, Jota, Bowen, Foden, Antonio, Watkins, King, and Foster as his second goalkeeper.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that does sound like a dilemma, because it doesn't really sound like a tremendous amount of people. He wants to keep Fernandez and he wants to have Salah.
Yeah, he doesn't have anyone big up top.
Yeah, he's got 2 free transfers.
2 free transfers. Yeah. 2 million in the bank. I think Foden's your cash cow or Jota's your cash cow there. Probably, but I wouldn't really want to be selling either of those.
What, 8 something? 7, 9 or something? You add 2 million to that, and you get to about 10, and you still need another 3.
7.9 for me. Yeah, so hang on, let me check. He is 8.4 now, so it depends on when he bought him.
Okay, yeah, fair. So then if you get to 10.4, then he's looking at maybe he's got a downgrade of like 2.5. Well, who were his forwards again?
Antonio, Watkins, and King.
Okay. Sort of be tempted by Antonio, possibly. It is Watford. They've got Watford and Newcastle, so yeah. And Watkins has Leeds and Newcastle.
And we'll have some doubles coming up.
Yeah.
Well, they have a lot of fixtures to fit in somewhere.
I would need a lot of surgery, I think. And I don't like to give answers that panic people.
Mm-hmm.
I sort of feel like if he's desperate, absolutely desperate to have Salah and Fernandes, and this squad looks like that right now, then I would wildcard for it.
I think
it needs some serious. He needs to kind of downgrade a lot of people, I think.
I think he could do it in a -4. If I'm thinking about this correctly, which, you know, it could be wrong. But Marcus, maybe you could, and for me, this is losing 2 really great players, but I think you could move Jota, Foden and Rudiger on. Put a 4 mil or even cheaper in where Rudiger is, and then move one of Jota or Foden up to Salah, and then whatever you have left, obviously get the midfielder in that spot. You may even be able to do that via Gray to Ramsey potentially, or even Moda at 4.5, Rudiger down to a 4 mil, 4.5, and then Foden or Jota up, so that you get to keep one of Jota or Foden. So try that sort of combination, buddy, and see if anything, you know, crops up in that respect for a -4 before kind of potentially kind of panicking and going nuts. But that's the only way I think I could see it personally. So yeah, give that a try. Hope that helps. Okie dokie. Nuclear, welcome, buddy. Regular on the stream. So Nuclear is going to be a mod. I just haven't sorted that yet. I've had such a busy day today. He said, I'd save some money to bring in Son for Mahrez after Mahrez plays Norwich. Question, is investing on the forward line even that important anymore this season?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest. Like, we were all thinking, oh, so excited about my Watford striker double up.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Don't even. Ugh.
I mean, I captain Dennis, and I am at the very least prepared to say that it was hilarious. I will always say that whenever there's carnage and chaos of any kind in FPL, whilst I know it can be stressful for me as well as everyone else, as someone who, you know, works in the media and was a scout for a long time, anything that was editorially juicy was like, yes, because it just gets everyone talking. I mean, like, I did some stupid tweet about Dennis comparing him to Thanos on Friday, and I got like 3,500 likes. That wouldn't have happened if he didn't get sent off. So thank you very much, Emmanuel. That was much appreciated. But obviously, it would be nice if you get some more points. I mean, just looking forwards compared to midfielders and even defenders, to be honest, we've got one forward who has 100 points or more this season. That's Antonio. Yeah. And even he's been patchy, right? Mm-hmm. In midfielders, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Fernandes is only 2 off that totals. He's on 98. Mane's only 3 off on 97. Saka's only 4 off on 96. The ones who are over, by the way, Gallagher, Mount, Son, Bernardo, Silva, Jota, Bowen and Salah. Then defenders, you've got Alexander-Arnold, 144. So that's 44 points more than the highest scoring forward, who's been patchy anyway. Cancelo on 134, Rudiger 102, Laporte 101, Van Dijk 100, Diaz 98. So you got to look at that and think, yeah, you are really going to have to cherry pick your forwards to work out who's worth having. And for all the talk of Ronaldo acting like a premium option, I mean, he hasn't really for a while. I mean, he's only got 86 points. So he kind of just looping back to what we were talking about before. Mm-hmm. I think if the structure right now has to be built around, as I said, Alexander-Arnold and Cancelo. I think your third defender needs to be someone who's in the 5-ish bracket. So I think Villa defense is probably the best one to look at. I just think your back three has got to be set and forget at this point, because there's enough of them to do that. And then you can just move things around in the middle. And then, 2 premium midfielders. And then I think 3-5-2 is the way to go. So then, who do you get in terms of forwards? I think Broja is probably worth having. I would have said the Watford strikers until they played this most recent game, and it's just really
let's hope that Y can bring something out of them, because anyone who's panicking at the moment that you won't have Dennis for Game Week 24, you will. He's only missing the second part of this double Game Week, unfortunately for us that captained him. So, yeah.
Yeah. He is going to come back, but he has looked shocking in the last couple of games.
He has.
So,
he did look bad. He did look bad. Yeah.
And so, I mean, if I was hard pressed to pick someone, even St. Maximan, I'd probably think about right now. Mope, I suppose we talked about him earlier, didn't it? But I mean, it really is the strikers in the 6 million bracket that I'd be really focused on. Edouard's another one. I don't even know if I'd spend that much money on Watkins, for example, because actually I think
Watkins and Calvert-Lewin. I mean, we were all over these a couple of weeks ago, and now we're just kind of like, really?
Sometimes it just depends on the alternatives. Like for example, right now, I quite like the idea of going with Coutinho. I mean, he's someone who's not really getting talked about a tremendous amount in any of these wildcard squads. But basically, if you are looking at a Villa attacker, to me, it just kind of, and you're wildcarding, and the rest of your squad is relatively template. Like, I just feel like spend less money on Coutinho, open up a forward slot for someone really dirt cheap, and then you've got more money, in my opinion, to then go for Salah, Fernandes, or Fernandes and De Bruyne, or whatever combination you want of your premium midfielders. I
will be trying my hardest to find a way to him from Trossard as soon as I can, effectively.
I think that's what I've got. Jota could be my... I still own Salah, so we'll have to see what happens with when he comes back. But Jota to Coutinho might be something I do quite soon. And I'm not saying Watkins is a bad option, but the thing is, right now, if we want to get to these 2 premium midfielders in a world where we're still going to have 3 probably premium defenders, we are just going to have to economize wherever we can. And so it's those 50-50s. Coutinho, for me right now, would be more preferable than Watkins.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so we need to rank Nuclear's team. And so we have De Gea, Sarr, so he's gone quite big in those goalkeeper spots. Trent, Laporte, Cancelo, Digne, Cucurella, Maddison, Bowen, Cornet, Mahrez, Salah, Brozier, Edouard, and Calvert-Lewin. There.
So I would give this like a 7.1. That's okay.
Sticking with the 7s.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if I go less than 7, I think people are just going to get offended, aren't they? So I'm going to rate that a 3.2 out of 10. I don't think anyone's going to come back to watch this stream again. I personally think that it's got the same problems as one of the other ones we looked at, where who are you benching on that defence? Because Cucurella is not cheap, for example. I mean, having him is not a bad idea, but then having him and Digne and Cancelo and Laporte and Alexander-Arnold is just perhaps a bit much. I would say the same about the goalkeepers as well. I mean, United and Wolves, I mean, I can understand why you would want to go there defensively, but actually what would probably make more sense is to just pick one of those 2 and stick with them. I mean, either one is good. I'm not going to say at that 50-50 who's better, but if he had De Gea and Aït-Nouri, or Sarr and Dalot, then it just gives you that opportunity to still be invested in the same clean sheets, but like simultaneously and for less money, if that makes sense. Then those decisions, so downgrading one of those defenders to Dalot or Aït-Nouri, downgrading one of those goalkeepers to a 4 million, would then probably free up a little bit more money to have a slightly more superpowered midfield. Because, I mean, I just think you need to have at least 2 premium midfielders, really. So that would be where I'd go with that. So hopefully Nuclear doesn't feel like we've slated his team. Hopefully he sees that like a doctor's diagnosis.
Yes,
this is what's
I'm
wrong
sure.
with your throat. There are some lozenges to help clear it in the form of a 4.3 million Wolves defender.
Exactly. I think I'll go with like a 7.2 myself. I quite like it, but I agree with David. There's a few bits there. Okay, well, we have to think about wrapping up because David has business call coming in, and I would just like to give a couple of shout outs to people in the chat. So thank you, Focus, for doing a great job. Nathan, welcome. Nuclear, as always. Greg, thanks guys. Thanks all for joining. And Subhav as well. And Geddy, thanks all for joining the chat. Much appreciated that you guys will come in and spending your afternoon with us today. We will do another one of these next week. And we can either do wildcards or general questions, so let us know in the comments below which you'd prefer, or a bit of everything. We can do that. So we'll be back around the same sort of time next week on Thursday, and yeah, we'll do another Q&A then. So thank you everyone for joining us, and we will see you again very, very soon. So bye guys. Thanks again, David.
No worries, thanks for having me on. See you next time.
No worries.
What?